Okay, I'd like to call to order City of Cudahy Common Council meeting today, Tuesday, July 21st, 2026 at 7 p.m. 5050 South Lake Drive, Cudahy, Wisconsin. Prior to this meeting, notice was given to the community and posted in the appropriate places. Notice was also given to the news media that requested it, namely the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel and mySouthShoreNow.com.
Roll call, Alderperson Levy. Here. Alderperson Phillips.
Here.
Alderperson Haynes.
Here.
Alderperson LaFerski.
Here.
Alderperson St. Falco is absent and excused. Also present is the police chief, the fire chief, DPW director, deputy clerk treasurer, BC Piper, engineer Schultz, as well as the city attorney and city administrator.
Please join us in pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just a quick reminder or a quick update. We have a new recording app, so please make sure you talk directly to the microphone or it will not pick up. So, okay? Guys, make sure your microphones are on, please.
Okay, presentation, item 1, presentation of the 2025 City of Cudahy Financial Audit by Baker Tilly. Wendy, please feel free to come and join us, yes.
All right, well, good evening, everyone. Included in your packet, you should have the audited financial statements, the reporting and insights document, and then a couple-page handout is what I will use to go through both of those documents at a relatively high level. Do want to mention that I did meet with management and the mayor last week, went through these documents in much more detail than I intend to do tonight, but please feel free to ask any questions as I go through. I'm happy to address them. So the objective of the audit was to issue an opinion on the financial statements, and we've done that. Included in your audited statements is a clean, unmodified opinion. That's the highest level of assurance that you can obtain, and it's the same type of opinion that the city has received in the past. As a reminder, clean opinions mean that the financial statement information is believed to be materially accurate. All the disclosures that are required to be included have been, and that we have adhered to generally accepted accounting principles. In addition to the audited statements, we issued 2 additional documents. I referenced the reporting and insights document that you should have received, but this year for the city, they were required to do a program audit. In the past, they had a single audit, which is a full federal and state compliance audit, but due to some change in thresholds, they were only required for 25 to have a program audit, which is an audit of the health programs or the health grants that the city gets. That document has been issued. It was due at the end of June. That has been issued, and there was nothing noted in that report, no compliance findings, so everything was believed to be in order. So just wanted to mention that. The reporting and insights document that you have, quickly touch on that before we get into some financial information. That document, as a reminder, we utilize that for several different purposes. We use that to communicate material weaknesses or significant deficiencies that may exist. We used that to communicate any comments and recommendations we have. We also use that to share some standard and customary communication that we do need to have with those charged with governance. And we also use that to share any information on new or upcoming standards. Included in that letter or that document, very similar content to what you've seen in the past. We do continue to communicate material weaknesses related to the fact that we as your auditors become part of your internal control for a portion of time as we prepare the full audited financial statements. We also propose some material journal entries as part of the audit process. None of that is unusual or unexpected for most governmental entities, but we are required under our standards to include that within that report and communicate it in writing. Also included in there, we share some other comments and recommendations. One is related to accounting for the library. We have a comment in there regarding policy adherence for the cash and collateralization or FDIC coverage. And then we have one just regarding some recommendations related to supporting documentations for journal entries. So again, none of those are material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, but just things that came up as we worked worked through the audit process and really just some recommendations for management to consider. The last item that I would just highlight out of that document is there is a new governmental accounting standard that will be effective for all governmental entities for 26, which is GASB 103. Went through that in great detail with management, so I'm not going to go through that in any level of detail now, but we will work with management to ensure the city is in compliance with implementing that standard at the end of 26. Does not require any changes to how numbers are accounted for, just more from a presentation standard. So look forward to seeing your audited statements looking a little bit different at the end of 26. Switching gears then and getting into some very high-level financial information. On the bottom of the first page of the presentation, I've included the various governmental funds of the city. On the top of the third page, actually, and you don't need to go there, Kelly, I'll just highlight it. I do include a budget to actual presentation for the general fund. So when we look at the activity for the general fund for 2025, you'll note that the general fund added $783,000 to fund balance. If you look at what you budgeted to add or to use a fund balance, it was almost $2.2 million. So the general fund ended very favorable to budget. Again, adding $783,000. A couple different reasons for that. There was some revenue, was $285,000 over budget. That was mainly in parking fees and court fines, $170,000 over budget. And then there was some additional intergovernmental revenue that was not anticipated at the time of budgeting, some personal property aid and that type of activity, and that was $92,000 over budget. On the expense side, also a favorable result, $14.3 million to a $16.7 million budget. So you were under budget in your expense categories by almost $2.4 million. Main contributors to that, you budget some funds from a contingency standpoint, expenditure restraint retention, that's roughly $1.2 million. You did not need those. PD came in under budget by $560,000. Fire was under by $200,000, and then emergency communication was under by $170,000. So those were the largest portions of that $2.3 million savings. The last item I would just highlight in the general fund was some additional proceeds that came in from the sale of the fire department. So your other miscellaneous type revenues were over budget by approximately $300,000. So as I noted, general fund added $783,000 to fund balance, ended the year at $10.3 million of fund balance. And as you can see on the presentation, there's 4 buckets to that. The first category is titled non-spendable. So $404,000 gets pulled out of that $10 million as those are prepaid items or advances that have been made to other funds. So they're not monies that the general fund has. So we pull that out. $137,000 of fund balance is the opioid funds that have been set aside. There's $2.8 million of assigned funds, and that is money that you use to balance your 26 budget. So we pull those out because if you would need those, we don't want those to fall into unassigned. The unassigned balance there, the 6.9, almost $7 million, that's your working capital. Those are funds that you have available for unforeseen, unexpected expenses. The city does have a policy to maintain at least 25% of its subsequent year general fund expenditures. That equates to roughly $4.6 million. So you're a little bit over the 25%, which again affords you some flexibility and gives you some funds on hand to use for anything that comes up that you didn't anticipate at the time of budgeting. The next column is your TIF 6. This fund had $3.3 million of revenue. That is borrowed money for 25. You spent $3.3 million. And on expenditures, those were developer incentives that were made during the year. That fund added $30,000 to fund balance and ended the year at a deficit of roughly $5,000. Not unusual for a TID to be in a deficit position, especially in its earlier years. The next column is your debt service fund, $2 million of revenue. That is mainly taxes. You spent $2.7 million on principal and interest on city debt. So keep in mind, this does not include utility debt. Debt service saw a decrease in fund balance of roughly $636,000 and ended the year at $1.3 million. The capital project fund is next. The capital project fund ended the year at a little bit over $3 million in fund balance, had some spending on various road projects, fire department design costs, highway equipment, nothing unusual in that fund. And then the last column there is titled non-major governmental funds. This is an accumulation of 20 more city funds that are accounted for in great detail in the back of your audited statement. So if you wanted to look at the activity that runs through those. But you can see in total those funds almost added $1 million to fund balance, ended the year at 7.3. To just put it a little bit in perspective, the larger portions of activity in there is your library at 1.5 million, your ambulance fund in there at 1.7 million, and then the special assessment fund at 1.6 million. That deficit fund balance of the $377,000, that's your environmental TIDs, and those have been closed and will be undergoing their final audits, and that figure will go away shortly. On the next page, this is where I've highlighted the various activity of the 3 utilities. So this is water, sewer, and storm. Just a couple things to highlight on each of those. Both sewer and storm had rate increases effective 1/1 of 25. The last rate increase for water was in February of 22. So that rate increase in sewer and storm does result in additional revenue being collected. But just to hit the high points for each one, water saw a positive increase in that position of 32,000. That's down 420,000 over the prior year. The main reason for that was there was some additional main maintenance in the current year of 150,000. There was also an adjustment that ran through that for GASB 68, which is an accounting for the other post-employment benefits and pension activity of the city. And that just affected the water utility with a $300,000 increase in its expenditures. Again, it's not a cash number, it's just recording the appropriate liabilities within that fund. Revenue saw a $90,000 increase. Cash was down $365,000, but the utility did use cash on hand for various capital projects and ended the year at 1.8 million of cash. The sewer fund, the next column, saw a positive increase in that position of $735,000. That is an increase of $350,000 over the prior year. Revenue was up $254,000. Expenses were down roughly $60,000. Cash had a positive impact of $13,000, and cash at the end of the year was $6.7 million. Lastly, the storm utility had a positive increase in that position also of $387,000. Revenue was up $222,000 over the previous year. Did see an uptick in expenses also related to contract services and the various wages and benefits that are allocated to the utility. Storm did see a decrease in cash of $395,000 related to capital asset activity and ended the year at 2.8 million of cash. So all relatively positive results within your utilities. On the last page then of the presentation, that top schedule I've already gone through when I talked about the general fund. That's just a high level summary of the activity. That bottom table really summarizes the long-term obligations that the city has. That first column, or that first row I should say, is the general obligation debt that was outstanding at the end of the year. The only new debt was the 3.38 million that I mentioned when I talked about TID 6 and the revenue that flowed through there. You paid down 1.48 million of debt in the governmental funds and 930,000 in the business type. Just keeping in mind, business type just means the utilities. Governmental is all the other funds of the city. So overall, when you look at your outstanding obligations and your borrowing capacity, your statutory ability to borrow is 5% of your equalized value, which is roughly 100.6 million as noted on the page. You have 21.4 million of general obligation debt outstanding. So that's the top row of that table. So the difference between there, Those two is your borrowing capacity. So as of 12/31/25, you have the capacity to borrow an additional 79 million, as you see fit for the various needs of the city, which is roughly 79% of your borrowing capacity. So a relatively strong situation from a borrowing standpoint. Lastly, I have included my direct line and my email. Happy to talk with any of you in more detail, but I'd also be happy to answer any questions you have now.
Anybody?
Could you, go over the issues on page 6 and 7, where you've identified the following deficiencies, material weaknesses? I noted that some of the things that appeared in this year's audit were also present in last year's. How do those go about getting corrected?
So the items that are noted on page 6, those were the ones I highlighted when I talked about the material weakness, because we become part of your internal control. We prepare the statements and we do propose material entries. The only way for that one to go away is for someone internally to prepare these audited statements materially accurate. And typically the cost benefit of having somebody on staff that has the appropriate skill set to do that is not typically there. So this one, to make it go away, would again have somebody internally prepare the audited statements in the same manner that we would. On page 7, those are the items that I noted that were more comments and recommendations, best practice type items. The first one talks about the library activity. Currently there's a portion of the library activity that is included on the city's books. Some of it is still maintained at the library in a somewhat manual format. This is really just a recommendation to bring it all into the city's books, so that all of that information is accumulated and accounted for on a monthly basis instead of just at year end when it's being audited. The second one talks about making sure that the city is evaluating the amount of cash they have on hand at 12/31, because they're due to tax collections, which you would expect, your cash influx at year end is very high. So the FDIC insurance that is included at the bank is not sufficient to cover those monies. So if a bank went under, you are running the risk of losing that. Good point, the good part is that money sits there for 30 days, 15 days. On January 15th, it goes away. It all gets distributed to the taxing units. So it's really a snapshot in time, but we always just want to remind management to be aware of that and to consider collateralization or transferring money elsewhere to cover that. And then the last one is really just making sure that when the city is doing monthly and year-end accounting, that adjusting journal entries and supporting documentation are being reviewed by somebody other than the preparer. Just making sure that you're trying to achieve the best segregation of duties that you can under the circumstances. So again, those 3 are just more comments and recommendations, nothing of a material weakness nature, but that's what those relate to.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay.
I just want to make one last comment. I want to thank administration. This has probably been the smoothest audit, the quickest turnaround that we've had in numerous years. So thank you for all the time and effort that was put in. The books and records were ready to be audited. Everything went very smoothly. Again, we had to issue that program audit by the end of June, and we had little to no problem in doing that and having the rest of these documents done. So I thank you for your time and effort in doing that. Really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you.
Moving on, public hearings, we have none. Public comment, agenda items only.
Okay, Alders, as usual, if it's a question and if it's appropriate to answer during the discussion of the agenda item, please do so. If not, please make note of it during your district and get back to them in a timely fashion.
Yeah, Tom Schmidt, 3954 East Birchwood. This presentation that we just had, The only question I have on this is, where's the rest of the finance committee? Did you people have a meeting prior to this with this lady that presented this? The other thing is, when it comes to consent agendas, I'd like to know if all inspections are taken care of for 26, 27. And, I'd like to know with this accurate appraisal, how many bids did we get and why did we take the bid we had? And I think that's all I would like to know. I had one more, but I seem to have lost it, or I don't have it with me right now. But I'd like to have them answered. Thank you.
Any other comment? Any other comment? Third and final call? Moving on, consent agenda items, item 1, minutes of the Rules, Laws, and License Committee meeting held September 3rd, 2025. Item 2, minutes of the Rules, Laws, and License Committee meeting held November 24th, 2025. Item 3, minutes of the Rules, Laws, and License Committee meeting held June 3rd, 2026. Item 4, minutes of the regular Common Council meeting held June 23rd, 2026. Item 5, claims ending June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $387,890.91. Item 6, approval of the Class A combination and Class B combination liquor license renewals for 2026 through 2027 for the attached listings pending all inspections and background checks. And item 7, approval of used auto dealer license renewals and salvage dealer license renewals for 2026 through 2027 for the attached listing pending all inspections and background checks.
I request, items 4 and 5 to be handled individually.
Okay, do we have a motion on 1 through 3 and items 6 and 7?
I'll make a motion to approve items 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7.
I'll second.
Motion made by Alderperson Phillips, seconded by Alderperson LaFerski.
Roll call, Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Items removed from consent agenda, we have items 4 and 5 from the consent agenda, are the minutes of the regular common council meeting held June 23rd, 2026. And item 5, claims ending June 30th, 2026 in the amount of $387,890.91.
Item number 4, the vote on the claims reflected in the minutes was unanimous, and it was a 4-to-1 vote. I voted no, and the minutes reflect, the vote was unanimous.
This was under the claims minutes for items removed from consent agenda. Item
Yes.
6. So, motion carried 4-1.
I think he's talking about item 7.
Okay. I'll check the recording and bring back amended minutes if necessary. So I would suggest if the council wants to table those, they can be brought back.
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson Phillips to table, 4 and 5, seconded by Alderperson LaFerski.
No, we're not tabling
No,
5.
just-
Five,
Just
okay,
four.
Just 4, okay, just 4.
Alright. And Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Yes.
Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. That item is tabled. I will check the recording and bring back any changes as necessary. Item 5.
Go ahead and make your motion. Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Haynes to approve consent agenda, remove number 5, seconded by Alderperson Phillips.
Roll call, Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
No.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
motion carries 3-1. All right, old business, we have none. New business, item 1. Discussion and necessary action regarding acceptance of the 2025 City of Cudahy financial audit by Baker Tilly as just presented.
The reason why it wasn't presented at finance is because it's a standard to just present to common council.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve or accept.
Motion made by Alderperson Phillips to approve, to accept. Do we have a second? Second by Alderperson Levy. Any further discussion?
One more question.
Okay.
My recollection was we did have the full finance committee, present last year when this presentation was made. And I guess why the change?
Recommended it wasn't a standard to have a finance meeting and then have it represented.
I'm sorry.
It may have been specially requested last year. I'd have to look back at the record. It's not a standard practice to take it to finance and then council to accept.
It's just depends on what, the questions are.
I guess I'm at a little bit of a loss in understanding what the purpose of the finance committee is. There are 2 citizen members on that committee, with valuable insight to finances, and I appreciate their input. I just, we're bypassing the committees again. And I don't know what they're there for if we're not gonna utilize them.
The finance committee code states that they are there to deal with budget items as well as advising on municipal industrial bond council representation. And those are, the industrial bonds are private. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call, Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
Yes.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0. Item 2, discussion and necessary action regarding acceptance of the 2025 Cudahy Milliman Financial Report. This is a report that is done every year, as required by GASB, Government Accounting Standards. This is what calculates out our post-employment benefit costs. Our total liability, if everyone would retire as projected at the current ordinances, contracts, and agreements that they have. The total OPEB liability changed from 2024 to 2025. The 2024 amount was $14,648,932. 2025's dollars are $14,024,030, so significant decrease in OPEB liabilities. What makes up those groups are the police department, total OPEB liability of $6,819,223. Fire department is $6,053,231,000, and any non-represented employees equal $1,151,576. Any questions on that report?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson Haynes. Any second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderperson Phillips. Any more discussion or questions?
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
Yes.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0. Item 3, discussion and necessary action regarding the agreement for assessment services between the City of Cudahy and Accurate Appraisal LLC. So the council several weeks ago requested us to go out to RFP. We did go out to RFP. We sent to 11 firms, and we received 1 response from Accurate Appraisal.
What's our original contract with them?
They are 4-year contracts.
4 years.
And it is virtually the same contract coming back to you. I can say, I know we've had issues in the past with Accurate, they have exponentially reduced year over year, so that's it. Nothing's ever gonna be perfect, but there's drastic improvement annually.
Yeah, we sent out the RFPs, like you said, the companies that responded, so.
So the work has been done. I noticed last month's claims reflected a payment to them in the amount of $36,465.
That's under the current contract.
That's under the current contract.
27, 28, 29, 30.
For the next 4 years, this new contract would be.
The sum from the last contract, it's both virtually the same, correct? This was just a slight increase.
It is the same, yes, virtually the same. It is $56,100 currently, so it's a slight increase to $58,200, which is very, very minimal.
Do we know, who other municipalities are using for their appraisals?
It varies, there's, like I said, 11 companies that we sent out to. I believe Milwaukee uses Tyler. There is, I always forget the name of the firm, it starts with an A also, in St. Francis. It varies everywhere.
Why do you think they're not interested in?
They're usually at capacity because of staffing levels. They don't wanna take on more than they can handle. They struggle as much as we do to hire, so.
Just surprising to only get one bid.
Yep.
Just like they're kind of not strong.
Talking to Mike. Yeah, we can't hear you.
I said it's disappointing to only have one bid. It feels like they kind of have us in a stronghold here.
The value that we're getting for the service, like I said, it's drastically improved. I don't have any issues with it. I know that at one point I did let the council know I had concerns at their last contract renewal. I no longer have the same concerns that I did, so the value for the money, I believe, is there.
Wisconsin Policy Forum too had a grant, did a study of possible options for municipalities in the area. Long story short, we're getting great value compared to almost every other community in Metro Milwaukee area. So, at least for this contract, it's a good deal. The service has improved remarkably.
I understand it's a good deal, but citizens are feeling like their appraisals are very high compared to other municipalities. That's what I'm a little bit concerned about.
It was a
If there are only
17%
options.
standard across the city, and that's based on home sales over the last year. It has nothing to do with whether you redid your bathroom or floors, it was a standard 17%. That's based on average home sales and retail stuff. So that's how the home prices went up.
There's also dependent upon when they do their market revals, how often they're keeping up with the market. There could be municipalities that aren't doing that like we do, and then they're gonna see giant jumps in values one year, where we like to be able to maintain that, and that's a huge difference.
Within the new contract, is there a auto review, on a yearly basis with them?
Like a performance review,
Yes.
there's always options to exit a contract if there are performance issues. There's nothing explicitly stated that we will review their performance annually.
Is there a way to maybe add that to the contract? Like a performance review?
That would be a negotiation with the firm if they'd be willing to do that. Can't guarantee that that's gonna be something they'd be agreeable to, and then we'd be out without necessity. that it's an option, I don't
Cause
know
I
how
just
that
think
would
it
go.
could be a good check and balance the city can do against the service and on behalf of the residents, kind of.
Like I said, any performance issues, we do have the option to cancel a contract if we would have those issues, rather than an annual review to say, you know, we wanna change things. We have a rep, after the last contract renewal with the concerns that we raised, we now have a personal rep who's done fantastic things to be able to make sure that everything is functioning well. But I can't say whether or not firm would be willing to have something like that in their contract. That would be a negotiation we'd have to enter with them to see if that'd be something they'd be interested in.
Fear might be an option, but
And then what? If we opt out of the contract, then what? We have no bus. So, again, we only got one, they're the only ones, I don't know what else to.
Were they the only ones that, bid 4 years ago? Or
We had
No.
two, right?
Two, yeah.
2 out of 11 again.
I think was it Tyler or was it the other one?
It's Tyler.
It was Tyler, yeah.
On a personal level, I'm comfortable with, dealing with Accurate. It is basically just like dealing with somebody here at the city. I deal with them on a regular basis. I think that it has drastically changed, on a service level, so I would be comfortable with, making a motion to approve it.
Okay, motion on the floor to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson Haynes.
Roll call, Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes,
Alderperson Lebersky,
Yes.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0. Item 4, discussion and necessary action regarding the bid award for the 2026 road improvement project 2026-02. There's a memo that was sent along with documents, to you on Monday that included the information. This was just heard Monday night at the Board of Public Works, or Public Works Committee.
I do the same thing. So, yeah, the memo is in here, it's just a standard mill overlay project. If you don't know what mill overlay means, it basically means that they take heavy equipment, they grind off about 2.5 inches, we put back roughly the exact same thickness. It's considered a maintenance item, this is not a brand new road. People think, oh, wow, the city came in and put a new road in. This is just a maintenance thing. We picked our worst rated roads in the entire city. As far as asphalt roads, it's not concrete roads. The question actually came up last night, why is Barland Avenue not being a candidate? Barland Avenue is a much bigger project that's gonna be fully reconstructed. That is the worst road in the city, by the way. But these other ones are asphalt roads that, have poor ratings. Some of the worst areas, if you look at the map, I don't know if you wanna scroll down, Kelly, or not. One of the worst areas is behind the football field, high school's football field on 8th Avenue. It's a really bad section. There's a really bad section, on Wanda Avenue, kind of by the Truestone Bank or the Truestone Credit Union. There is also a bad area that we've gotten tons of complaints coming out of car wash on Packard and Grange. We believe that that area is due to the oil being deteriorated in the pavement, from all of the cleaners that are in the soaps and everything that come off the vehicles when they come out of the car wash. And then plus just the freeze thaw during the winter months, because that car wash runs basically, almost every single day through the winter and everything. We did get really, really good bids. John and I were really scared to put out a bid in June, July almost. And, we actually got really favorable bids here. Engineer's estimate for this project was, $926,000, 971. And low bid came at $772, 184.60. That's a very, very good bid for this time of year. One of the questions that came up last night is why is Milwaukee Paving so much higher than, I thought you had up. We had 4 bids, Milwaukee General, Payne Dolan, Milan Contractors, and Milwaukee Paving. I was actually really happy to get 4 bids this time of year. I was scared we weren't gonna find kind of Accurate in that and just gonna get maybe 1 bid or no bid. So this was really good to see. Poblaki paving, that was the question that was asked last night, why such a big, discrepancy in the price there, from the low bid to the high bid. Poblaki usually does not do a lot of municipal work. They are known to do more parking lots for large warehouses and businesses. So usually when we see their bids come through, they're always high. Milwaukee General has done tons of projects for us through the years. Good contractor for this type of work. They do the concrete work and they are subbing out the asphalt work to Wolf Paving. But like I said, staff recommendation is to award the contract to Milwaukee General.
Is there an amount not to exceed?
Yes. 772, 184.60, and that includes the $50,000 contingency. Anytime you're doing roadway work, you have to have that contingency in there. You never know what you're gonna find underneath that pavement, and if we have to, do more work to make it stable, we have to add that work.
And Jim,
Mm-hmm.
this also includes curbside work and.
Yeah, but it's in there. There's upgrades to the ADA handicap ramps, where needed, and then, any deteriorated curb and gutter is also being addressed. There's some areas like, for example, Barnard Avenue is on here, and, there's like, it's been overlaid so many times, there's like a curb that's only like 2 inches tall. We're not gonna go crazy chasing a bunch of curb out there, so we're not gonna get totally nuts. It's more about like the deteriorated curb areas that we'll replace. The funding sources, I should have went over that, sorry. This is just road and equipment fund, $616,185 out of road equipment. And then this project also includes all of the water utility restorations from the water breaks last year, and that's another $156,000. And the reason we add those water utility breaks onto this contract is the water utility gets better pricing for getting, obviously, added onto a bigger project. If they just did that on their own, it would probably be much more expensive.
Any of this project going to be affected by the lead replacement?
Nope. Barnard Avenue was one of them that I talked to Frank Miller and Mike Woolman, and we said that we will just say, because Barnard Avenue does have a lot of lead services on it, but we will probably make Barnard Avenue one of the last, I wouldn't say last, but we're not gonna do it in the next 5 to 6 years as a lead replacement. We'll push that one off. Because that's the last thing we wanna do is mill overlay one of these roads and then tear into it in a year to 2 years, cut holes in the road because of lead services. We don't wanna do that.
Any other questions?
How long does, this process increase the life of the road?
So it depends on what's underneath. For example, Barnard Avenue has a concrete base. The original road was a concrete road, and then it's been overlaid years after. Overlaid means asphalt placed on top of concrete. That's why that curb is so little. We've actually seen really good success on that type of installation. We did Allerton Avenue from Packard to Lake, and that was done, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago, and the road's looking really, really good. So anytime you have a good, strong base underneath that asphalt, you're gonna get the life out of it. So that's gonna be more on the 15 to 20 year cycle. I will be honest, this is a 10 to 15 year cycle on your Haley, your Wanda, but this is just, it's maintenance. It's pushing off the road reconstruction that's really what is needed, but it gets us by.
Any reason why the city doesn't do seal coating anymore with pea gravel? I know it's done in.
Lots of money, and the benefit of the road actually getting more life out of it, they've done enough studies there, you might get 1 or 2 years out of it. So it's really not. One of the things is we went through a time years ago when I first started here, where we were doing a smaller aggregate asphalt top lift. It's called the surface course. And I felt that it was more of a sealed course of asphalt. And then there was a different time period that went through and we started using more, it was 12.5 millimeter versus a 9 millimeter stone. The 12.5 millimeter stone, I truly do believe it might be a little stronger, but it also lets more voids come out and that moisture works its way in and the pavement starts to deteriorate quicker. I think with the 9 millimeter, that's what I've been doing since I've been in charge, and I feel it's a better looking product at the end, and I feel that it lasts a little bit longer. You maybe don't have that structure, but you do have a better surface. It's a better ride, it's a better look, it's more of that tight aggregate that the seal coat really isn't needed on a tight aggregate like that. But back to your question is, seal coat's not cheap. If we could do it in-house like the old days, sure, I would do it, but with, 14 guys on staff, I can't get half the other stuff done. So we're never gonna seal coat again, I know it, unless you give me money to hire 10 more people.
They still do it in central Wisconsin. It seems to hold up real well. But just a question.
It's a maintenance item, and with the limited funds that we do have, I'd rather put asphalt on our roads than seal coat roads. I guess maybe that's the best way to sum that up. I think years ago when we did seal coat, we also had a much bigger pot to use, and the pot now is not as big.
And I know in the condition some of the roads are in, you couldn't seal coat them at this point. I mean, you have to have something to work with, so. Just
Yeah, the window of time for seal coating is definitely under that 10-year mark. Anytime you have the reflective cracking already working its way through, you're throwing bad money at it, just by seal coating. That's why you'll notice, tar sealing, we always do 2 years after a road, gets milled and overlaid. We'll go out and we'll tar seal that road. Usually it takes about 2 years for some cracks to come through, and then we hit it with the tar right away. That's one thing we still are doing, is the tar sealing we're not doing every road like we used to in the old days, but we are hitting the roads that were done, if it's an asphalt road that was done 2 years later after it was installed.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Looking for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Alderperson Levy, do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Alderperson Phillips. Any more discussion or questions? Okay.
Roll call, Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Item 5, discussion and necessary action regarding the request of Justin Cudahy, agent of Joe's K Ranch located at 4840 South Whitnall Avenue for a temporary extension of premises on July 26, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. for use of the street Whitnall Avenue from Carpenter to Cudahy Roofing.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson Phillips, seconded by Alderperson Haynes. Any discussion, more discussion or questions?
Just a quick question. I know rules, laws, approve this conditioned upon police, fire, and DPW okaying it. I mean, okay.
Well, just to clarify, this is on the extension of premises for the liquor license. This is not for the special event.
Oh, okay.
So it's just where they're allowed to then consume intoxicating beverages.
Okay. My mistake.
Anybody else? Alright, we have a motion and a second.
Roll call, Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Yes.
Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Item 6, discussion and necessary action regarding the request of Milo Messina, agent for Orson Saloon located at 3558 East Barnard Avenue for temporary extension of premises on August 1st, 2026 from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. in front of Orson's to the east side of the alley entrance all the way across to the west entrance on Barnard. This is also for your rules, laws, and approved.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Alderperson Levy, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson LaFerski. Any more discussion?
Roll call, Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Item 7, discussion and necessary action regarding the request of Roger Zanecki, agent of Swift Kick Pub, located at 3778 East Pulaski Avenue, for a temporary extension of premises on August 29th, 2026, from 12 PM to 9 PM, from the east sidewalk to the garage.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson Phillips, seconded by Alderperson Levy. Any discussion?
Roll call, Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
Yes.
Alderperson St. Marie Bell, I'm sorry, Alderperson Levy.
Yes.
Alright, motion carries 4-0. Item 8, discussion and necessary action regarding the application of Caitlin Colbeck, agent for South Shore Cocktail Club LLC, located at 5133 South Lake Drive, for a Class B combination liquor license.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion made by Alderperson Haynes, seconded by Alderperson Levy. Any more discussion on this?
Roll call, Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
Yes.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Item 9, discussion and necessary action regarding the application of Maria Hernandez, agent for Gloria's Restaurant LLC, located at 5018 South Packard Avenue, for a Class B combination liquor license.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion on the floor by Alderperson Levy to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson Haynes. Anything else?
Was this a change of agent?
I believe that this is a new applicant, but I don't do much with the liquor licenses anymore. Melissa, new license?
Yes.
New license.
Cause they had one before at some point, right? Was this used? Okay.
This is in the same location,
So new,
but
new
it's
5 times.
new, yes.
Sounds good.
I believe one of maybe the children, because she was with them, is taking over the business, so,
Sounds good.
okay. All right. Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Item 10, discussion and necessary action regarding the application of Daniel Fleisch for a peddler's permit to go door to door offering financial advising and planning services.
This came before Rules, Laws, and License, and I expressed my concerns there. I don't know that going door to door selling financial advice or planning services, is a good idea. We have elderly residents. I voted against this, and I would make a motion to deny this application.
Can we legally deny peddlers?
I am pulling up your ordinance. There are First Amendment issues implicated. As we've talked about in the past, there's a whole body of case law on the issue. We do have an ordinance that regulates this, so we need to be sure that any action we take is consistent with our ordinance.
Do you have it up in front of you, Eric?
Yes.
They all have to go through a background check, correct?
Correct. Background check, they have to submit a passport photo and have an ID made. And then there's a complaint-based process to have, the permits revoked if necessary.
I don't see any specific standards for granting or denying the permit, other than it does say, it establishes the requirements, establishes the fee, that the license is required, a bond. And there are prohibited practices, which include hours of operation, and residents have an ability
says no peddlers or no solicitors or no trespass, in which case the peddler can't go there. They can't make misrepresentations or false, deceptive, or misleading statements. And there are other elements here. So I guess my concern is with the motion that was made, and it hasn't been seconded, so it's not on the floor. But my concern is that there's no indication of a rational basis for that determination.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor to deny. Is there a second? Going twice. 3 times motion. Still a topic for discussion.
What were the hours of operation listed?
By the applicant or by the
By the
ordinance?
city ordinance?
Transient merchants shall be prohibited from calling at any dwelling or other place between the hours of 9 PM and 9 AM, except by appointment. Those are the hours.
How much is their application fee?
I believe it's 150.
Can't hear you.
I asked how much the application fee was for the peddler, and she said $150.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Per peddler?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion on the floor by Alderperson Phillips to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Alderperson Gaines. Any further discussion? I guess I have to agree with Alderperson LaFerski. It's kind of weird. So we're not gonna talk about your financials, but it's just me.
Can't deny somebody an opportunity to work.
Yeah, I get it.
And with our ordinance and complaint driven, the permit or license can be revoked, so.
Okay, well, motion is on the floor, it was seconded, so here we are.
Any other discussion? Roll call, Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
No.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
motion carries 3-1. Item number 11, discussion necessary action regarding the donation of $150 for the 2025 July 4th performance of the Scuttlebutt and Safari Band to the Cudahy VFW Post 2895.
This goes on every year. The clowns that are in the parade, they request $150 to be in the parade from us, and they just ask that the money gets donated to the VFW Post. We've consistently done that for ever and a day, so.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Alderperson Levy, seconded by Alderperson Phillips. Any further discussion?
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips,
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
Yes.
motion carries 4-0. Department manager elected official updates, DPW Director Burkle on abatements.
So this was talked last night at Public Works Committee. We've been having some issues lately with abatements. We talked about it actually a few times at Board of Public Works, when it was called Board of Public Works, and now Public Works Committee. It's a continual discussion. Everyone, I think, believes, or the residents believe, that DPW, when there's a grass complaint and lawn grass, that DPW goes out there and we cut their backyard, front yard, trim the grass, blow their clippings, do everything. And that is one thing we cannot be doing. All DPW does is put it into compliance. And technically, the compliance is what we can do in the right of way. So believe it or not, for all these years, we've probably been breaking the law and trespassing. We've been going on private property. We shouldn't be on private property, is what we're being told by legal. And the other thing that we really should not be doing is we should not be having DPW staff up on somebody's front lawn and we live in a crazy world, and we get a lot of people that come outside and they're ticked off that we're already doing it. And one of these days, something bad's gonna happen. We're gonna get a gun drawn on us, knife drawn on us, you name it. The correct way to do it is have a court order. That process, from what everything JJ and Kelly and I have looked into, it's a lengthy process to get a court order. Most of our neighbors to the north and south of us, that's how they're doing it. They go through the process of a court order, and it's basically almost like a warrant, correct me if I'm wrong. And then it gives the city the right to enter the property and cut the lawn. Even then, I still don't like doing it, because now it's been 2 months of grass growing, stuff is 2.5 feet tall, and you got dog chains, you name it, underneath that grass, and our guys have no clue it's there. So we go and we cut it with our $5,000 or $7,000 riding lawnmower, and we completely ruin the riding lawnmower. It's happened. So there's gotta be a better way we can handle these. I don't know what that way is. We've been tossing around every idea in the entire world. It's a problem right now. So the way we're going out right now and dealing with it is we have it in code and ordinance that the right of way is our right of way. So we're going out there and I'm having the guys the code is written that we have to notify the homeowner or the property owner. The way, it doesn't say how you have to notify them. It can be done by tagging, it can be done by pounding a stake in the grass and having I'm joking around and calling it a shame sign. Because it's nice and bright green and it says violation of code right on it. Kind of calls you out pretty much. I think that works in a residential neighborhood. You get called up, you probably feel shame, but when it's an abandoned big property, like, you know, I shouldn't be naming properties, but you can name some of the ones on Packard Avenue that just let their grass grow. That shame sign doesn't mean a thing. But the way the code is written, it has 72 hours. So as soon as that thing is pounded in the ground, it has a date on it of when we're gonna come. It doesn't always happen in 72 hours because it just happens when the complaint comes in, everything's complaint driven. We pound the post in the ground, it's out there for at least the 72 hours, if not more, and then we go out and we cut the parkway, and we do 2 passes off the back. Most lot lines are anywhere from 2 to 4 feet off the back of the sidewalk. It's at least making it look good when you're driving down the corridor and you don't see grass in the parkway, but, you know, this is the example I used last night. You know, you're a neighbor that lives across the street, you happen to look out your window, and you see the grass across the yard, or across the street from you. Don't look at it, you know, 18 inches, 2 feet, then 7, it's 3 feet. Inspection is writing fines for this. I'm not exactly sure what those fines are, I don't know if JJ has more info on it, but they are, if they're continual, let's call them the people the abusers that just don't seem like they wanna take care of their yard, they are being fined, I think, monthly, for not cutting their grass. And then on top of it, I come in there and cut it, and they get a $225 ticket. If it's a second offense, $325. Fourth offense, $425. So, I just don't know what else we can do. It's an update that I wanted to bring to the floor to discuss. It's a problem that we can't really figure out. We can't understand why people won't maintain their property. I'll take any thoughts or ideas.
I just got a complaint a couple weeks ago regarding Parkview School, the former Parkview School. Right now, the grass inside the fence is about ready to be cut and let to be dried out, and you could probably bale it. It's that tall.
So, Mayor, this is an update, and I don't wanna call out specific properties in under this agenda item. I don't think that's appropriate.
So as Tim said, we're kind of in a conundrum here. We're tied up by legal, we can't go on private property, and one person will first regarding that, I guess. We'll keep in contact again, tell him it's grass, or he's getting fined. Compliance wise, for people to cut their lawns, some people are just, they don't wanna do it, for whatever reason. The only way to do that, maybe get compliance, is up the fee. Maybe instead of $200, it's $500. So,
The fee schedule comes, to the committee for review annually, so that is something that we can look at the budget season when we're reviewing that for fall, unless you want it sooner, but that is something that was just also reviewed and updated, this past season as well.
As long as the inspection goes out and issues a citation fine, and the property owner pays or not paid, but if it's not paid, it goes on the property tax. We just need to figure out what's the best solution to get them to compliant. And talking last night in the committee on Public Works, you know, about court order, but that's a process, keep going through the legal system, and everybody knows, you know, it does take time with that process. But if other communities are already using that process, the city should probably look at that harder.
okay, any other questions for DPW? All right, thanks, Tim.
Next update, school board representative Gary Durr.
Am I on? Yeah, okay. Good evening, my name is Carrie Durr. I'm the current Vice President and Common Council Representative for the Cudahy Board of Education. I'd like to share a few updates from the school district of Cudahy. I believe you all got some packet sent to you, yes? No?
Not if I was supposed to send it, cause I didn't get one.
Well, I think she sent it to JJ, so I'll just put you on the spot. But I brought a couple with me, just in case, you didn't get it, my report here, but I'm gonna pretty much summarize it anyway, so.
Just a reminder to hold off speaking until you're back in front of the mic, or the new recorder won't pick you up.
All right.
I'll take this end, and Butch, I'll give you one on this end.
Thank you. Just like we're in school. So just to summarize, first, we're proud to recognize several outstanding achievements across the district. General Mitchell Elementary was named a Wisconsin School of Recognition by the Department of Public Instruction for its success in supporting all learners, particularly students from economically disadvantaged backgrounds. Cudahy High School was recognized as an advanced placement pacesetter school for its strong AP student performance, and our district was also nominated by Wisconsin Reads as a top standout school district in Wisconsin. We celebrated the accomplishments of the class of 2026, recognizing our valedictorian, Donata Herzing, and salutatorian, Charmaine Cruz, while awarding 90 scholarships, honors, and certificates during senior recognition night. These recognitions reflect the hard work of our students, staff, and families. As we prepare for the upcoming school year, we're excited to launch our district-wide back-to-school kickoff theme, creating a new standard. Students have been invited to showcase their talents through writing, music, and visual arts, sharing how our schools have helped them pursue their goals. Selected students will be recognized as VIP guests and will present their work to all district staff during our August kickoff event, helping us begin the school year with student voices at the center of our work. Construction and facility improvements funded through the community approved capital referendum continue to make tremendous progress across the district. We've completed district office renovation and relocated administrative offices to the high school, returning 15 classrooms at the middle school to student use while repurposing additional classroom space at the high school. District-wide, new Verkada security cameras and secure door systems are nearing completion to enhance student and staff safety. Parkview Elementary has been sold. It has been sold, not our property anymore. J.E. Jones has been leased and Kazi has been placed on the market as we continue implementing the district's long-term consolidation plan. Across our schools, we're seeing significant improvements that will benefit students for years to come. At Cudahy High School, roofing replacement, sidewalk repairs, pool viewing window repairs, door replacements, and a new graduation stage have all been completed or are well underway. Our stadium has undergone extensive improvements, including a new roof, windows, exterior lighting, tuck pointing, painting, field lighting upgrades, and interior renovations. At the Cudahy Middle School, the main office renovation, parking lot improvements, building rebranding, and loading dock door replacements are progressing. General Mitchell Elementary is receiving a redesigned parking lot, office renovation, mechanical upgrades, and building facade improvements, while Lincoln Elementary has new windows, a renovated main office, a new generator, and infrastructure improvements. These projects demonstrate our commitment to being responsible stewards of the capital referendum funds while providing safe, secure, and modern learning environments for our students and staff. Finally, I'd like to share an update on our district branding initiative. Following feedback from more than 200 families, with over 75% supporting the change, the district will align the middle school with the Packer identity already used in the high school. This creates a consistent identity for students in grades 5 through 12, while allowing our elementary schools to continue celebrating their unique mascots and traditions. The transition will occur gradually through normal replacement cycles and fundraising efforts, ensuring a fiscally responsive implementation as part of our broader Shaping Our Future Together initiative. I just want to thank the Common Council and the City of Cudahy for your continued partnership and support. Together, we're making meaningful investments that strengthen our schools, our students, and our community as a whole. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ordinances and passage of, introduction and passage of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinances, we have none. Resolution item 1, discussion and necessary action regarding resolution number 7603 entitled, a resolution denying the claim of Rodney Love. This is a claim that was denied, based off of the insurance company's recommendation. This was, related to a storm event, with water infiltration, to this individual's, apartment.
Make a motion to approve the denial.
Motion made by Alderperson Haynes to approve the denial of the claim. Do we have a second? Going once. Going twice. Going 3 times, motion fails. Still a topic of discussion. Anybody?
Are there any questions?
Why did she feel that it was the city's fault?
I don't know that I could necessarily explain that. There was water infiltration from a rain event, but I can't explain why they would
You
assume
don't
that
know
it's the
why?
city's. I can't assume why someone believes that's the
okay,
city's issue.
yeah. It's not that you can't talk about it.
No, I can't assume why they would feel that it's a city issue. The insurance company has vetted it, they feel that the city has no liability in that area. There was no other issues in any other property surrounding this property. So the claims committee did recommend denial. There's also a manhole, what is it called in the manhole? A surcharge indicator right near that property, and there was no indication of a surcharge.
How are we feeling about it? Any further questions you have, or
What was the claim amount?
$4,134.95.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
under state law, a claim, once it's made, it needs to be acted on within a period of time. If it's not acted on within that time, it's deemed denied. But the failure to actually take action to deny means that the city is exposed to liability risks for a much longer period of time. So by failing to act, it will be a denial, if that's what happens. And then they will have 6 years to sue the city. But if you instead act to deny it, they will only have 180 days to sue the city. So there's legal consequence there.
There are statutory protections in place, even if this would have been an issue resulting from a surge that protect the city from any liability as well. However, again, there was no recorded surges in the area, no other properties with any issues.
And we have no circumstances or details, right?
Not extensively. Apparently it was with such force that there was, quite a bit of pressure, coming through, all of the fixtures in the apartment. But that type of force would have been recorded on a flow meter in the manhole. It would have been affecting other properties. But again, that's not something that I can necessarily speak to other than what was listed in the claim.
Anything to add, Tim?
Kelly kinda hit it on the head, she did pretty well. We did not have any other, we looked into it, and there was no other backups in the entire area. Like I said, we have surcharge indicator in the hole, and it did not show any evidence of the surcharge, so that doesn't mean anything backed up in the city system.
And where is this located in the city?
3776 East Hammond, apartment 7.
Is it the renter that's making the claim or the owner of
The tenant.
And is the 4,000 damages that she's trying to recoup?
So it wasn't listed as damages. What was turned in for the claim was all replacement, furniture, furnishings, things that were damaged that were replaced.
Yeah, in the resolution, it says alleged damage, it doesn't specify anything.
So that's standard language.
It's not.
So this was a sewer backup, if I'm hearing, yes?
No, we don't know if it's sanitary or storm, could be either one, we didn't have it in either system. So we have no clue what the person had.
And they weren't present for the hearing?
I don't know, how often that.
No, they did not attend.
Okay, well, somebody's gotta do something here. If you do nothing, it's gonna get denied anyway, but you're what Attorney Larson said.
There's also considerations to be given for precedents as well.
Attorney, can a motion come back that was not seconded?
We'd be looking for.
It was never on the floor as a result of not being seconded, so yes, the motion would still be made.
I make a motion to deny the claim.
Okay, motion by Alderperson Haynes to deny the claim, seconded by Alderperson Levy. Any more discussion of this topic? Alright.
Alderperson Haynes,
Yes.
Alderperson LaFerski,
Yes.
Alderperson Levy,
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips.
Abstain.
All right, motion carries with 3-0 with 1 abstain. Item 2, discussion and necessary action regarding resolution number 7607 entitled, "A Resolution Authorizing the Issuance and Establishing Parameters for the Sale of Not to Exceed $17,560,000 even dollars of General Obligation Promissory Notes, Series 2026A." And this is Paul from Ellers. He'll be representing the financial advisors on our behalf.
All right, good evening, everybody. As Kelly said, I'm Paul Binning from Ellers. I'm here to highlight and go through the pre-sale report for the proposed general obligation promissory notes issue. Starting with a little bit of background information, as you'll see, the dollar amount listed on the agenda is not to exceed $17.5 million. That amount was set earlier in the process when bond counsel prepared the resolution. That was the dollar amount at that time. Since that time, as part of the due diligence process with getting ready for this issue, one of the things we always work on with clients in collaboration with city administration is we review previous debt issues. We look at the spending of previous borrowed monies. The IRS has very specific rules and requirements as far as how soon the borrowed money needs to be spent. They have rules about how much municipalities can earn on investments, so it's always very important to look back as you're preparing for a new issuance. In the case of Cudahy, there was some unspent proceeds from a previous issue. That is not uncommon. When municipalities move forward with a borrowing process, they utilize best guess estimates for project and equipment costs. They utilize best guess estimates for timing of when projects will occur. And in reality, some of those things don't always line up exactly to the pre-sale estimates. So in this case, what we determined is that there was some funds from the prior issuance that needed to be spent before the city could or should borrow additional funds. And in looking at the projects that the city was looking to fund with this issuance, there was a line item for radios and body and squad cameras for about $1.25 million. And that item has been removed from this issuance, from this project list. And those items, the radios and body and squad cameras, can be funded with previously funded money. So the reason the pre-sale report reflects a dollar amount of $16.3 million and the agenda represented $17.5 million is that $1.2 million difference for the items that can be funded with proceeds the city already has. So as a result, the amount of the borrow has gone down, and per our estimates, the amount of the debt service levy from 2026 to 2027 is projected to go down by about $50,000 because of that decrease. A few months ago, my colleague Greg Johnson was here and looked at a very preliminary borrowing plan with the council. Obviously tonight we have things in a much more refined order. So I'm going to go through the pre-sale report that I know you all have a copy of. I'm not going to read it word for word. I'm going to try to cover the most pertinent issues, sections, and then obviously when I'm done with the summary, I'm happy to answer any questions or provide clarification based on council member questions. But beginning on page 1, the proposed issue again is $16.3 million general obligation promissory notes. That is the amount that we will be going to market with on the city's behalf. The purpose of the borrow is to fund the following purposes: water, sewer, stormwater projects, street facility improvements, as well as equipment and vehicles. It's important to note that when it comes to the utility projects, utility equipment, the debt pertaining to those projects will be paid by the respective revenues of each utility. Another thing I want to point out is that this proposed issuance is a combination of the 2026 and 2027 projects, so that $16.3 million, that is not just for the projects that are in the 2026 capital improvement plan. That dollar amount is to fund 2 years worth of projects. With regard to the term of the debt, the notes are being issued for a term of 20 years. However, not all of the debt will go out that long. Some of the debt, which we'll look at in a few moments here, is shorter than that. We try to time the debt and the payback period based on the life of the asset being funded. It's important to note that as of June of 2034, the notes will be subject to prepayment at the discretion of the city or any date thereafter, meaning that if we were to identify a situation where a refunding would result in saving the city money, if interest rates were to go down, beginning on that date, this specific debt could be called by the city. The city has a bond rating of AA3. That rating was assigned by Moody's during the most recent issue. As part of this process, the city will be requesting a new rating for the notes, and that process is going to happen shortly. On the next page, I mainly want to point out the method of sale and placement. We are recommending the notes be issued as through a competitive process. That is the process the city has historically used. And essentially, we will solicit competitive bids from banks and underwriters. We will compile the results on your behalf, and whatever bid results in the lowest total true interest cost for the city is the bid that we will be recommending. At the bottom of page 2, there's a paragraph about parameters. This is what's known as a parameter sale. Some of you may be familiar with this, some of you may not, but the action on tonight's agenda is to consider adoption of a parameters resolution, and what that does is it would delegate authority to the city administrator or clerk treasurer to accept and approve a bid for the notes so long as certain parameters are met. So in other words, as long as the bids meet certain requirements regarding interest rate, issue size, etc., the city administrator or the clerk treasurer will be able to sign off on those bids. We have found that parameter sales have helped result in more competitive bids received. And one of the reasons is that if we don't do a parameter sale, we have to time the sale for a date that coincides with a city council meeting. And as many of you know, many municipalities in Wisconsin meet on the first and third Monday or the first and third Tuesday, and that results in there being a lot of sales on similar days. If we use a parameter sale, we can look at the sale calendar statewide and try to pick a date that will result in Cudahy getting the most attention. And in part, that's what led to choosing a date of August 24th. And that way the city of Cudahy's issue will hopefully get the attention of many investors on that date. The next page is a lot of just very standard language, so I don't really have any specific things to cover on page 3 of the report. But on the following page, I do want to note the proposed debt issuance schedule. Again, tonight is the night where the Common Council is considering the parameters resolution. And then in a few weeks here, we have a few items coming up. We have a due diligence call, which is essentially a time where city administration and the due diligence council make sure that every aspect of the sale meets the legal requirements, and that basically all the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. And then the week after that is the conference with Moody's, the rating agency, where the city will go through a rating call with an analyst from Moody's, and then shortly thereafter, Moody's will release what their bond rating is for the city of Cudahy. Shortly thereafter, we will distribute the official statement. That is essentially the legal document that tells the story of Cudahy's proposed debt issue. It includes all of the pertinent financials. It includes information about the city, and it basically provides the full picture to investors of the sale at hand. The sale date is set again for August 24th, and then finally, the estimated closing date is September 16th. That would be the day that the city would have the funds on hand to be able to move forward with projects and equipment purchases. As we move forward in the pre-sale report, we get into the tables that have all of financial data, so I will go through and provide a summary of the various tables. So beginning with table one. Table one is the existing debt base case, and what that basically means is it is a snapshot of the city's existing debt by repayment source. So the first column shows the year at hand. The second column shows the city's total general obligation debt payments. Again, this is the debt that is currently on the books. The next couple columns where you see the numbers in red, what that represents is the portion of the debt that is not being paid by the general debt service tax levy. For example, you'll see that the TID 6, the sewer utility, the water utility, and the stormwater utility, they all pay a portion of the existing debt that was obviously utilized for projects benefiting those specific utilities. As we continue to move left to right, you can see the net tax levy, which again is the total debt payments minus those abatements from the utilities. The city's equalized value, which then of course calculates what the debt service tax rate is per thousand. The next column shows what the debt service taxes are for a property with a value of 100,000. We use 100,000 simply for the sake of being able to provide a number that can be easily multiplied for specific valued properties. Obviously, a property worth 200,000 would be double that. 300,000 would be 3 times, etc. The very bottom left, under that second column of total geo debt payments, that almost 29 million, that is the total of principal and interest payments associated with the city's existing debt. So again, table one is a snapshot of all of the debt that is currently on the books. Table two is a breakdown of the projects that are proposed to be funded with this specific issue. So you'll see a very nice detailed list provided by the city, a breakdown of every specific project, whether it's equipment, a vehicle, or an actual construction project. The next column shows the corresponding department. As I mentioned, even though the debt issue is proposed to go out a maximum of 20 years, you will see that some of the projects and items on this list are going to be repaid in a much shorter time period, anywhere from 4 to 10 years. And the reason we do that is because for something like a vehicle, a pickup truck, that has a useful life of maybe 10 years, ideally you'd want to pay that off quicker rather than pay for it for 20 years if you're only going to be able to utilize it for half that time, of course. So that's just kind of a common sense funding practice there. And then the additional columns, 26 and 27, those again correspond to what year in the city's capital improvement plan the project was listed for. And as I started with, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, this specific debt issue is proposed to be a 2-year issue to cover the 2026 and 2027 capital improvement plan. Moving on, table 3 is known as the sources and uses, and essentially what this page shows is a breakdown of the cost components of borrowing, and it's broken down by what portion of the borrow is going to be covered by the levy for 20 years, 10 years, etc., the various utilities, storm, sewer, water, and then again, based on whether the specific debt is 10 years, 20 years, etc. This page is basically again, the breakdown of the cost of borrowing, what makes up the borrow. It's very similar to, in our personal lives, a mortgage. If you were closing on a mortgage, you would get the very detailed statement of closing costs and all of the costs associated with the mortgage. This is no exception, except it's on the municipal borrowing side. Table 4 is allocation of debt service for the pending issue. So what this shows is by levy portion and how long the debt is, whether it's 20 years, 10 years, 4 years, and then storm on this page. It shows what portion of the debt is being funded in each of those categories, and then we have the estimated interest rates and then the corresponding principal and interest payments. One thing to keep in mind is at this stage in the game, when we're in the pre-sale mode, These numbers are all estimates, which of course, final numbers will be locked in after the sale. We always try to err on the side of caution, although we've seen the market be very stable as of late. Whenever we put together a pre-sale report, we try to build in a little bit of a cushion just in case something were to happen in the market. So what we used in the case of Cudahy, and looking at recent sales that have occurred of similar debt issues, similar municipalities, we used a rate of 3.8%, and then we added 50 basis points again, just to provide a little bit of a conservative buffer if the market were to shift in the next few weeks. And that gives us a true interest cost of 4.3%. I should note, getting back to the parameters that were set that need to be met by any bidder who is interested in buying these notes, we used a maximum true interest cost of 4.3%, meaning that every bidder would have to submit a bid that does not exceed that maximum, and if bids were to exceed that maximum, the city would have the ability to not accept those bids. What we've seen lately in similar sales is we've seen interest rates hovering around 4%, and again, barring any change in the market, I would look for something very similar for Cudahy's issue. The next page is just a continuation of what we just looked at. It's a continuation of the allocation of the debt service. It just continues to show the various categories: storm, water, sewer, and then 20-year, 10-year, etc. So just a further breakdown of the proposed debt issue. Table 5, obviously a lot going on here, and the reason that is because this is a snapshot showing the not just the 26 and 27 issue, but this is what I would call an all-in snapshot. The city's current capital improvement plan goes through the year 2035. So what we're showing here is if the city were to move forward and continue funding its capital projects on a yearly basis, we wanted to show what that all-in approach would look like. It's important to state for the record that the future year capital projects at this point obviously are our best estimates. It's a living document plan. The city has a very thorough process of how it finalizes its capital improvement plan every year. So just note that those future years, those dollar amounts are not obviously set in stone. The city will fund the projects that it determines it would like to fund on an annual basis. On this page, you also see a section that reads abatements, and again, those red numbers reflect the portion of debt that are being paid by the utilities and not through the general tax levy. One other thing I'll say is that when we put together a plan like this with the city, we work to structure the debt to ensure that the city has levy capacity in future years to be able to fund projects. We never want to see a municipality get in a situation where, well, two things. We never want to see sort of a roller coaster impact of what the debt tax rate is. We try to level that off over time. And same thing with levy capacity. We don't ever want the city to get in a situation where they need to continue to fund projects, but all of the levy capacity has been used up by future debt issues. So all of that is very key to the process that occurs as we get to this stage. The next table is table 5, the tax impact summary. This is a breakdown. It kind of puts together a few of the exhibits we've looked at. It begins with a snapshot of the city's existing debt and what the debt service levy is by year for the debt that the city already has. And then it overlays the proposed new debt to show what the impact would be if the city continues to move forward with its capital improvement plan. So this is sort of a fine-tuned breakdown of what I refer to as the all-in look of the city's capital improvement plan that goes out to 2035. So long and short of it, and again, these are best estimates, especially for the future years where there's going to be some changes to projects and dollar amounts, etc. But the number most elected officials like to look at is sort of on the far right bottom, under the annual taxes new debt only column, you'll see at the very bottom in the total row, the $3,037. What that reflects is if the city were to move forward and continue to fund its capital improvement projects, essentially over the course of 29 years, the impact on a $100,000 property to fund all of these projects would be about $3,000. So again, $3,000 over the course of 29 years. All right, getting near the end here. Table 6 is a look at the city's general obligation debt capacity analysis. The left side, the table in blue, again, is the city's existing debt. You'll see that for the year ending 2026, the city is at about 19% of its statutory debt limit. In the state of Wisconsin, municipalities are limited to the amount of debt that they can have. At any one time, the outstanding principal cannot exceed more than 5% of the municipality's total equalized value. So you'll see in that table we have Cudahy's total equalized value, again, the equalized value of all property in the city, how much debt the city currently has, and you obviously do the division and come up with the debt limit percentage. On the right side of the page, what we're showing is if the city moves forward and continues to fund its capital improvement plan, we're showing what that debt limit would be. And you can see that by year, it goes anywhere from 21% all to a maximum of 60%. And again, so even at 58, 57, 60%, you'll see that because of the city's equalized value, the city would have close to $50 million in capacity. So Cudahy is nowhere near the debt limit that some municipalities are at, and you continue to have capacity to fund your projects. I won't spend much time on tables 7, 8, and 9. What this shows is with regard to the utility portion of the debt, water, sewer, and storm. What it shows is, can those utilities cover their share of the debt? The column I'll draw your attention to is the debt coverage column. The number you see in that column, which tends to be anywhere from 1 to 3, what you want to see there is a number greater than 1 or 1.25, because that means that the utility has 1.25% additional revenues to pay for the debt. And for all 3 utilities, the utilities are in really good shape to pay their debt. So that is a good thing, and really no reason to dwell on those tables. I know I covered a lot. Some of you have obviously been through this process before, some of you have not, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The resolution in our packet shows the 17,560,000. Do we have an updated resolution?
We were not provided an updated resolution, but they can amend the amount.
Don't the parameters say that that's not to exceed the 17?
Yeah, I can comment on what bond counsel relayed if that's helpful. So bond counsel relayed that the resolution and the agenda wording of not to exceed obviously is a higher amount than what the city is moving forward with. The pre-sale report presented tonight that is going to be reflected in the official statement for the borrowing that reflects, 16.3, that is the amount the city is moving forward with. So bond counsel, their determination was that so long as the resolution amount was at least 16.3, that there was no issue, and I've seen this multiple times this year personally.
And similarly, the parameters, the terms of the notes, is that, I don't believe that's consistent with what you showed in your revised report. The terms of the notes in the resolution versus your report, you revised your report as to the parameters.
Yeah, so the parameters are in alignment with the resolution, that the issue size is not to exceed 17.5 million. But again, the amount that the city is requesting to finance and the specific projects are outlined in the pre-sale report, which will be memorialized in the official statement, which is the legally binding offering document.
So it's your recommendation that the council would just adopt the resolution as presented?
That was Corals and Brady's recommendation, the bond council, correct?
So, that would allow borrowing of up to 17,560,000.
It would, but again, the city is going to market with 16.3 and asking to fund the projects in this list. So if an investor were to submit a bid that exceeds what the city is asking for, we as financial advisor would obviously recommend the city not accept that bid. I do not, under any circumstance, see that happening based on all the other sales we've assisted with this year.
So the resolution before you would authorize additional borrowing, and it authorizes staff to sign the additional borrowing beyond what is being recommended by Ellers, just so you're aware.
In the resolution, it says the mayor or clerk. Does it need to address the city administrator?
There's multiple sections. One of them is the mayor and the clerk, and one of them has the city administrator.
Several sections refer to it all the way through. So the mayor's on the hook, or mayor or clerk, or city administrator or clerk. It's not consistent all the way through the
Correct.
resolution.
There's multiple sections that are different.
Is that typical, or? Or does it need to?
I would say it's not typical. I mean, we've not done a parameters resolution before, so this should delegate who has the authority to approve it. And it does sound like it's ambiguous, and I'm just glancing at it, it looks like it's a little ambiguous. It's a good question for your bond counsel. Your bond counsel is representing you on this.
Yeah, and I've seen it's not uncommon for a council or a board to, as part of their motion when they adopt a parameters resolution, to state for the record who they are designating as the official, so that I can then go back to Corals and make sure that that is not ambiguous.
Can we update this to represent the 16.3, or would you not advise that?
I'll actually kind of defer to Attorney Larson on that. I've not seen that myself.
I mean, your question is, can we? And the answer is yes, you can. It might affect the timeline. Or you could adopt the resolution as presented, subject to it being amended to be for the amount of 16,330,000, not to exceed. And subject to it being amended to delegate the authority to the persons you want it to be. I'm clarifying that, being consistent.
Does it matter that we don't have an adopted capital improvement plan? It came before this body. We had, it was supposed to be a town hall, but it was more of an open house. And it never came back before this body. It was never discussed again and approved formally.
Does it matter if the borrowing? No. The work that is contemplated is for this borrowing is clarified in report.
And why was it before the body even to begin with? Discussion and necessary action. It was a couple of months ago and referred to.
Well, that's, our issue today is whether to borrow funds.
Borrow funds for what?
For the project list shown in table 2 in the Alex report.
But the council never approved any of those projects formally.
Right, well, so do you wanna borrow for it or not, I guess is the question today.
What are we borrowing for? I guess that's my question.
It's the projects listed in table 2.
For the documents that were included in your packet. These were brought back to council for 26 and 27 separately from the CIP as well.
I don't know, you put
Well, I'm just gonna make a statement here. I am not and will not be in favor of a new public works facility. And in this borrow, there's approximately $2.5 million for design and engineering at the site, and that's before we put a shovel in the ground. So that $2.5 million, and let's keep in mind that the DPW facility is a storage garage for all intents and purposes. Structurally, there's nothing wrong with it, and if additional space is needed, there's room on that site for additional space. I don't know who made the decision to construct a new DPW facility, but I certainly wasn't involved with it.
This building was on the books since 2017 or something like that, Tim, right? The DPW building was discussed back then.
Discussions, I don't know what year that was, 15, 16, 17, I don't know.
Currently, the trucks don't fit. We don't have female facilities. The building it does need repair, significant repair, and the costs are probably outweigh a new building.
Where's the study?
We can do a study, but I think it's a known fact that the building, we can't expand on the footprint that's there, sorry. We can't expand. You have contaminated ground on the backside of the building, so you can't expand off the backside of the building. I mean, we can, but you're gonna have to dispose of all that contaminated material. I'm all for doing a study, but I just feel like doing a study, I mean, it's up to you guys if you wanna throw money away. I mean, I think it's pretty, the building's, I agree with you, it's a great building, but it doesn't fit our needs. So,
Also the issue with the fuel depot.
I mean, that's a whole nother thing to talk about. I mean, you guys are dealing with very old infrastructure. It was built in 46, the building. Right now, we're using a fuel island from 1992 with dispensers from the 70s. We had to pull a guy out of retirement off his couch to dig through his garage to find parts for us to fix our fuel tanks.
But the fuel island is a separate issue.
Well, it's part of the whole buildup. It's part of everything. I mean, we're operating out of 3 different locations. I just don't know why we're operating out of 3 different locations. I actually don't care where the building goes. I just know the facilities we currently have do not meet the needs. I don't care one way or another where it goes, but we need to do something to fit the equipment. We need to do something to fit the facilities that we have women working for us that can't use a bathroom correctly. The city's gonna get sued.
Well, Mayor, I think we need to bring back to what our agenda item is. Our agenda item is a borrowing resolution. It's not approving a DPW building. That's gonna come later. And it'll be either approved or not approved. But this is authorizing fund and authorizing borrowing to do some design work and other work as described in that table too. Those projects will involve contracts, and those contracts will come to the council.
The resolution specifically lists paying the cost of a public works facility.
borrowing for those costs. Yes. But whether you spend that borrowed money is not the question today.
It is listing design and engineering and infrastructure. It does not list the location where those things will occur. So if that wants to be changed in the future, it does not list where those things occur.
It's not the location, it's, you can move on, you're not gonna sell me on it and do what you need to do.
So in light of the comments that were raised, a possible motion would be to approve the borrowing resolution as presented, subject to the resolution being revised by bond counsel to reflect the proposed issue amount of $16,330,000. I'm sorry, $16,330,000. And related parameters changes, and to reflect that the persons authorized to execute the note are let's just say the city administrator. Should we just, it's up to you, but authorize the city administrator to sign the note based on the recommendations shown in the Ayler's presale, revised presale report dated July 21, 2026.
Is that what you want? Alderperson Levy?
Yes. Do I need to restate that?
Wanna try? We can have just,
I'll make a motion to approve as presented with adjustment to the $16,330,000. And then also adding that we are authorizing the city administrator to sign the note.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion made by Alderperson Levy as stated into the record. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson Phillips. Any more discussion? Questions? All right.
Vote. Alderperson Levy?
Yes.
Alderperson Phillips?
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes?
Yes.
Alderperson Leversky?
No,
Motion carries 3-1. Item 3, discussion of necessary action regarding resolution number 7608, entitled "A Resolution to Accept the 2025 Sanitary Collection System Compliance Maintenance Annual Report." This additional material was included in the email to you on Monday as well. This is an annual report and annual resolution.
I can talk real quick.
Go ahead.
You guys probably have no clue what this is. We do this every single year. This is an annual report that we have to do. Stormwater annual report, water utility does their annual report. This is done every single year. It's basically a formality. For some goofy reason, the DNR requires a resolution to be passed to submit a report. They do not require this for the stormwater report. I don't know why they do it for the sanitary. It's just a formality.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, motion made by Alderperson Levy. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Alderperson Haynes. Question, Alderperson Phillips.
How many times have they pushed Lake Drive capital project on these reports when we submit these?
Yeah, every reasonable, probably I'd say the last 3 to 4 reports, because Lake Drive, the driving force on that one is the lead. As soon as we know what we're doing with lead there, then that project is go. So, yep, until I have that answer, I can't really, we have design phase, we're probably at about 85–90% designed out. We're just waiting on the lead. Back to what we were talking about before with, I think you asked the question about, have we looked at all these roads and compared to where the lead locations are? That's the last thing I wanna do is do Lake Drive with a concrete road, and all of a sudden we're digging in Lake Drive to put a lead service all the way across, or replace a lead service.
All right. Anybody else? Okay.
Yes.
Alderperson Haynes.
Yes.
Alderperson Wolfers-Cree.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0. Public comment on any subject.
Alright, I'll go.
Go ahead. It's been taking longer to get up there.
Thomas Martin, 3735 East Pulaski. Good evening. For those of you that are elected by the residents, there's an ongoing legal confusion about what rights you have to respond to questions from residents you are elected by. I will read your state laws and state-issued policy guide for you to be informed of your rights per state law. Also of note, this policy originated April 6, 2011, before any of you were elected. Cudahy Common Council states, quote, any discourse between speaker and council of absolute necessary will be minimal as to avoid potential open meetings laws violations, unquote. There is no factual basis in any state laws or state recommendations for this. Wisconsin State Legislature states, quote, during a period of public comment under section 19.84, a governmental body may discuss any matter raised by the public, unquote. Wisconsin Open Meetings Laws Compliance Guide states that same, but it says that subject does not appear on the agenda. It is recommended to add to the agenda and have that discussion in future meetings. Wisconsin League of Municipalities summarizes the same information in their FAQ. I ask from each of you on the council that is elected, you accept a motion, yes or no, to place the item on the agenda for subsequent common council meetings where open laws can be properly discussed per open meeting laws, and you can be allowed to respond to residents.
And
I would like to get a response from each of you that's elected, yes or no.
I think our mayor's already allowing us to be able to respond to it during.
Yeah, in the beginning of the meeting, I said to the alders, if it's appropriate to respond to the questions as stated in the first public comment, please do so. So that, on the agenda items.
Right, but it states that.
We can bring this to the community of the whole and have an open discussion on it.
Right, but it says that if the item's not in the agenda item, the recommendation is added as an agenda item so that it can be openly discussed for
future meetings, but we can add it to the committee of the whole.
But will be added to the agenda?
To the
Committee of the whole is where we can discuss something like this.
I do have copies for you as well. Just-
Thank you.
Anybody else want a copy?
I actually have.
Yeah, here's the copy.
Any other comments? Please state your name and address for the record.
Thomas McGinnis, 3507 East Armor Avenue. I don't know why I'm here. I've been a property owner in Cudahy. I bought my home in 1973. I've been paying property tax there the whole time. Being I gotta abbreviate everything I wanted to say because of that thing on the desk there, I thought you could talk to City Hall, but I know now that you cannot fight City Hall. They put too much limitations on an average citizen to be able to talk to City Hall. The only person I've been able to talk to representing the city is my alderperson, Ms. Levy, and I appreciate her actually getting back to me when I wanted it. I'll leave it for you to figure out what I mean by property tax assessment is taxation without representation. There's nothing a person can do about this. You put all kinds of hurdles in the way to attempt to address your assessment, but you and I both know it's going nowhere. You're gonna assess my property, whatever the company tells you to do, you're gonna assess my property at that. The more valuable your house, the more you're gonna pay in property tax. That's undeniable. Ridiculous thing on the bottom here. Will my taxes ever go down? You gotta be kidding. I don't know what they're even there for. Now, I don't need to insult any city employee outright. It's what I've been looking at, my wife and I are both 77 years old. We live on $50,000 a year fixed income. When property taxes go up, you all can see about a salary increase, a pay increase, whatever. I can't tell my retirement system, give me more money, my property tax went up. Every time you raise my taxes, it's coming out of my retirement. Just for the heck of it, I went on the internet. I'm not good with all this computer stuff, but salaries in Cudahy came up. And again, I got nothing against teachers or anybody that gets a salary from Cudahy, but most city of Cudahy employees, I've seen 11 teachers that make double what I make a year. I've seen 5 school board executives that make more than double what I make a year. Anybody wants to tell me when contracts come up that they should get a raise, if they're making over $100,000 a year, tell them to come and see me. I'll tell them how they can live on $100,000 a year. I live on $50,000 a year. So when it comes to contract time for anybody in the city of Cudahy, think about the poor citizen that's sitting back there, that every penny that comes out of your property taxes comes out of my retirement. And I can't do anything about getting additional fees. Thank you for the limited amount of time you allow a citizen to give their opinion.
Very good.
Have fun.
Very good.
Any other comment?
Diana Zelinski, 4572 South Packard Avenue. Tonight you voted on the resolution up there, and you should be ashamed of yourselves. You really should. Mr. Lefersky was correct. You are supposed to follow the letter of the law. Your attorney speaks for you. He does not speak for the rest of the city, who pays him and his company and pays outrageous amounts of legal fees. And most of you that are sitting up there, including the mayor, don't care what we think. That's why we try to recall you, because you don't care what we think. You only care about what you want. All of you want this $16 million plus. When you see that people are suffering in this city and you don't want to do the right thing, the thing that is legally correct, you're supposed to bring those lists of expenses back to the city and bring those things to this committee and have it approved. No, you didn't do that. You didn't give us a town hall. You didn't give us anything except an open house where you had tons of pictures up and a few people here and there that could talk to a few people about what they wanted to find out. You guys are just so corrupt, it's not funny. I'm hoping to God that people will come forward and not be afraid of what you people are doing. There's no reason for them to be afraid of you. There really isn't. You violate the law. You have these secret meetings, one-on-one with the mayor, with the city administrator, with the different aldermen.
It's not a
Yes, you do.
violation.
You
Diana, it's not a
admitted to it
violation.
before, sir. You admitted to it before.
It's not a violation, stop
It is a violation.
it. No, it's not.
It is. It
I'll
is
tell
a
you what, if
violation
you think we're up
because
to,
you
if
say
you
it
think
is.
we're up to nonsense,
Pardon me?
if you think we're up to nonsense, go to the DA's office and file a complaint.
I have filed complaints, sir,
where'd that
and
go?
I'm gonna
Okay,
file
done.
some more. Because you should have followed the law. I have 54 seconds and I'm gonna take it. Everything that you asked for tonight on that list was not brought back to the city. You didn't bring it back to a committee. You're absolving the city's committees, or you're dissolving them as fast as you can. Stopping people from being involved and taking little to no reference from the people that you are supposed to be governing here. You do little bitty odd and end things for your constituents, and then you sit there and smile because, yeah, that's the thing to do. Someday, you're not gonna be in office, and you're gonna be on this side. And I hope that there are people up on that dais that will take the same considerations of you that you have taken of your constituents. Thank you.
Any other comment?
Tom Schmidt, 3954 East Birchwood. How do I say this without offending somebody because of what's on the back of this page? I was at the Public Works meeting last night, and, there wasn't a true answer of when they were gonna do Lake Drive. They didn't know if it was 3, 4, or 5 years, because I was sitting next to an individual that lives on that street. And a couple other questions that I have is, and I don't know how long it'll take to get answers, but we had spent a lot of money on the intersection of Kimberly and Packard. Is that Ramsey and Packard? To run wire. And that, the understanding I had when we were in this room before, we talked about these wires we had to do this because we were gonna put solar lights up and down Packard Avenue. I don't know whatever happened to that. Are we still doing that, or is it just, now they're running wire, according to the understanding I had last night. The lead pipe service, what is the timeline on this thing? I heard 3 years, I heard 6 years, I have no idea. I don't know, and I would like to know. I would just like to know how long this is gonna take. Last night a gentleman was told that he's gonna probably have to wait, that's probably 5 years out. Well, how long is this project supposed to last? We were told at the beginning, the guy is no longer an employee of the city of Cudahy, 3 years. Well, ain't gonna be 3 years, you didn't even put a shovel in the ground yet. I had an incident last week. I called the Cudahy Police Department. Really nice guy, really nice guy. He gave me all the time I wanted, more than what I actually get here. About, I would want to see you people relook at this, I got 24 seconds. I would like you to look at this electric bike thing. Not so much the bikes, but it's an electric dirt bike, or a scooter. I know the county of Milwaukee, if it doesn't have a pedal on it, you can't put it on the bike trail. There's a couple of people up there right now that think that they're mad at St. Francis because Cudahy and South Milwaukee want this thing, so they want St. Francis to open it up so they can get these things down here. I don't want to look at that crap like they do across the street from Layton Avenue Fruit Market. I don't want to look at it like it's over there by Pickens Street on Whitnall. I just do not want them things around the city. You put them in the middle of a sidewalk, you got some lady in a wheelchair, she can't get around it. Where does she go? On the street. No, I want you to relook at that and think very, very hard about it. Thank you.
Any other comment?
Gary Milky, 5804 South Delaware. First of all, we put in these wonderful microphones, but I have to tell you that most of the time, we can't understand what you're saying. You speak to each other, so when you do that, you turn. And if I speak like this, can you hear what I'm saying? No, you have to speak to the microphone so we can hear what you're saying. It's really, that's why we're here. We want to hear what's going on. The other thing I would like to see you do is put something on Facebook, on the city's page, that explains exactly what people who are going door to door have to have, what credentials they need to have, what they can and cannot do. Because there's so many people out there complaining about people who are going door to door. They're tired of them. And if you ask them if they have something from the city, I don't need it. I work for Spectrum. Spectrum doesn't, they put the boss on and said, no, we don't need anything. Well, we need to know what is required. When somebody comes to our door, can we say to them, do you have the badge? If they don't have the badge, we'll tell them, bye, leave me alone, go away. And by the way, if you put a no trespassing sign or no soliciting, they don't follow that. It's like they can't read. They still come up and knock on your door. So if it could be made more, made clearer on the website, on the city's page, so that the citizens of Cudahy can go on there and look and see exactly what is allowed and what is not allowed. We would know when someone comes to our door, what they can do. I didn't realize that people who were doing political things are exempt from this. I wouldn't think that they would be. I still wanna know who's coming to my door. I don't want just anybody, just because they're following a candidate. I wanna know who's coming to my door. I don't want just anybody walking up. So if it would be clarified better on the city's webpage, I think it would make things easier. I think it would make it easier for the police department, because they don't have to respond to calls, because the citizens will know ahead of time what they can and cannot do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Pat King, 3907 East Iona Terrace. I think I'm just a little confused, like everyone else. Didn't we not vote for you, older people, to represent us? When do you represent us? This guy does. I can tell you, you don't, and you never do. Anything they want, they get. When are you gonna represent us? When? Oh, let me guess. How about I meet you at the bar and have a drink with you, and then you probably will, huh? It's getting real old. And you, sir, I think your name is Burkle. The last time when I talked to you, don't you ever scream at me and threaten me the way you did when I tried to explain something to you. Who do you think you are? Number one, I went tonight with a neighbor of mine for a walk to look at something, and I'll tell you what.
Ms. King, please direct your comments at the council, not at DPW Burkle.
Well, I am, because he's supposed to be having the people out there trimming those trees. I just paid $700 for new glasses and almost had them broke because they're not trimmed. Nothing is being done, but you want money. Money, 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 money. Then you wonder why there was a recall. There's gonna be a lot of changes. You guys just don't realize it. Have a good night.
Any other comment?
My name is Lynn Hohenfeld, and I will not give you my address. I just have a question for the mayor. I've been reading a lot on Facebook and how true some things are, some ain't, about the National Night Out. I understand that the police department, the fire department don't want this, and all of a sudden Jen Sweettree ran the whole thing. Well, you should have known that she was leaving or moving a couple months ago. You could have put that out there for other people to help you if you did not have a committee. So I don't know why you didn't put it out there saying that there wasn't a committee to do this, and how you're talking that she did everything and nobody else did help her. Well, she never put nothing out there to say she needed help. If there was a thing out there saying that she needed help, I would have stepped in. There's a lot of people that would step up for this. And it doesn't happen in 6 months. When a thing is done, you have to start right away, like the 4th of July. When that was done, my husband and I started right away for the following year to get donations and everything. It's hard work, but we bust our butt off to do this for our community, to have a good fireworks and have the National Night Out with the police officers and everything else, and everybody stepped up. But right now, it's canceled because nobody knew anything about this till, what, a month ago, a couple weeks ago, it's canceled? Was never out there? I just want to answer for that, because there is a lot of kids in this whole city that looks forward to that. They even look forward to the one that they got at McDonald's they put out. You should see that. But then now we're not having a National Night Out for our city? There's something wrong here. And if you could raise, I'm gonna give you credit, to raise all that money for 4th of July to have a good 4th, why can't we do that for the National Night Out? If the police officers, the fire need money, extra money for a patrol, then we should fundraise it to give it to them. But everybody should volunteer. It's our city, people should volunteer things to do, to help out. And then you always say, you want the city better? This is one of them, to get everybody together. That's all I have to say. And if you don't have anything to say, I know where you stand.
Any other comments? Any other comments? Third and final call?
Hold on, he's a little slow.
Andrew Yatrin, 3735 East Pulaski Avenue. I just want to know why you guys can't respond to citizens' comments up here, and I would like to be furnished with the official city policy on that, actually in writing. Thank you.
Any other comments? Second call, any other comments? Third and final call? Are we looking for a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
So moved.
A second. Motion made to adjourn by Alderperson Haynes, second by Alderperson Phillips.
Got that third guy.
All those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? We are adjourned at
9:21.
Hey,
Lynn.
Yes.
how the hell are you gonna get them guys to put them things up?
Well, I didn't know that they had to put them up yet, I just emailed Matt, I wasn't there, and I called tomorrow before it's done.
Attention here,
I'm not gonna make nothing.
Yeah, right. Like seriously.
What'd you help do?
I didn't know anything about that stuff until she brought it up here. Nobody ever said anything. I didn't